Hello and welcome to today's story, a fascinating tale of love, choices, and destiny that will leave you speechless. Imagine moving to a new country, chasing a dream, and unexpectedly finding yourself caught in a whirlwind of romance with not one, not two, but four incredible women. This is the story of Amos Onima, a man who found love in the most unexpected way, but soon faced a dilemma that would change his life forever. As cultural differences, deep emotions, and shocking twists unfold, you'll be left wondering, what would you do in his place? Stay with me until the end to find out how this incredible journey takes an unexpected turn. And if you love captivating stories like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing tales. Now, let's dive in. Amos Onima arrived in Oakwood, a quiet town in the United States, with nothing but hope in his heart and a determination to build a better future. Leaving behind his homeland of Kenya, he dreamed of success, stability, and a fresh start. It wasn't long before he found work as a truck driver, a job that paid well enough to support his simple yet comfortable lifestyle. But Amos was more than just another immigrant trying to make ends meet. He had a natural charm, a smooth demeanor, and a confidence that made him stand out. Unlike many who kept to themselves, Amos had a way of making people feel valued. Whether it was his warm smile, the way he listened intently, or his effortless conversations, he quickly became well-liked in Oakwood. People gravitated toward him, and before long, he wasn't just known as the new truck driver in town. He was a man who left an impression wherever he went. Little did anyone know that his irresistible charm would soon weave a complicated web of love, bringing four women into his life in ways he never expected. As Amos settled into life in Oakwood, he unknowingly captured the hearts of four remarkable women, each drawn to his kindness and magnetic presence. First, there was Cynthia, a dedicated nurse with a compassionate heart. She admired Amos's ability to listen, his warmth, and the way he made her feel truly seen after long, exhausting shifts at the hospital. Then came Mary, a hardworking teacher and single mother who longed for stability and companionship. Amos stepped in effortlessly, helping her son with homework, offering her a shoulder to lean on, and making her believe in love again. Meanwhile, Kesha, a lively hairstylist with a contagious laugh, was drawn to Amos's easygoing nature. They spent hours together, exchanging jokes and stories, making life feel light and joyful. And finally, there was Lisa, the passionate bakery owner, whose late-night baking sessions with Amos turned into something more. He appreciated her ambition, her creativity, and the comfort of freshly baked bread shared in quiet moments. Amos managed to balance his time between all four women, treating each one with equal affection and respect. He attended church events with Cynthia, helped Mary with her son, laughed endlessly with Kesha, and shared intimate flower-dusted moments with Lisa. None of them suspected the existence of the others, until fate decided to unravel his carefully kept secret. One ordinary afternoon, fate set the stage for a revelation that would change everything. Cynthia walked into Kesha's salon for a routine hair appointment, unaware that Mary was already there, chatting casually as she waited for her turn. As they struck up a conversation, the topic of relationships naturally came up. With a smile, Cynthia mentioned a wonderful man she had been seeing, Amos. Mary's laughter faded as she stared at her heart skipping a beat. "Wait, Amos? My Amos?" she asked, disbelief creeping into her voice. The room fell silent. Within moments, their shock turned into realization, and as they pieced together their experiences, it became clear. Amos had been seeing both of them. And when Kesha overheard their heated discussion, she hesitated before speaking, but the look in her eyes said it all. She too had been caught in Amos's web. By the time the women left the salon, they had made a decision. Lisa needed to know. and Amos needed to explain himself. That evening, they gathered at Lisa's bakery, inviting Amos under the pretense of a surprise dinner. When he walked in, bouquet in hand, his confident smile faded as he saw all 4 women sitting at the table, their gazes unwavering. Lisa broke the silence. "Amos, we need to talk." Instead of outrage or accusations, they wanted answers. Why had he done this? Had any of it been real? Amos, knowing there was no way out, took a deep breath and told the truth. He loved each of them, but in different ways. The women exchanged glances. Their story was far from over, but one thing was certain: the game had changed. As Amos sat before them, he knew there was no use in denying the truth. With a deep breath, he confessed. He truly loved all 4 women, each for different reasons. He admired Cynthia's compassion, Mary's resilience, Keisha's laughter, and Lisa's passion. He hadn't planned for this to happen, but his heart had refused to choose. "I never wanted to hurt any of you," he said sincerely. "I just couldn't walk away from something so special with each of you." The women exchanged glances, expecting anger or betrayal to rise within them, but something surprising happened instead. Instead of fighting, they started talking. For the first time, they saw each other not as rivals, but as women who had all experienced the same love, the same attention, the same promises. Their emotions were raw, but they found understanding in one another. Then Lisa spoke up. "What if we decide what happens next? On our own terms?" The idea lingered in the air. Society had its expectations, but they weren't bound to follow them. After all, they had already stepped into something unconventional. Slowly, nods of agreement passed around the table. It wouldn't be easy, but they weren't ready to let go just yet. That night, they made a choice to see where this path could lead, not just as individuals, but together. Just as Amos and the women were adjusting to their new, unconventional relationship, a storm was brewing. One afternoon, a letter arrived at his doorstep, an official notice from immigration authorities. As he read through the words, his heart pounded. His residency was being questioned, and the tone of the letter suggested trouble ahead. Amos had always known that polygamy was illegal in the U.S., but he had never formally married any of the women. Still, it seemed that their unique arrangement had drawn unwanted attention. Reality hit him hard. Staying in America could put everything at risk. If the government pursued his case, he could face deportation, or worse. That night, he gathered the women at Lisa's bakery once again, his expression heavier than they had ever seen before. As they sat in silence, waiting for him to speak, he finally said the words that would change everything. "The only way for us to be together is to leave America. Come with me to Kenya." The room fell still. The weight of his proposal hung in the air. Moving to Kenya meant leaving behind their jobs, families, and the only life they had ever known. It wasn't just about love anymore. It was about sacrifice. As the women processed his words, they realized that no matter how much they cared for Amos, this was a decision that would shape their futures forever. The women sat in stunned silence, Amos's words echoing in their minds. Leaving America? It was a decision none of them had ever considered, and the weight of it was overwhelming. Each of them had built lives here, careers, families, and dreams that couldn't be abandoned overnight. Cynthia had dedicated years to nursing. Mary's son was thriving in school, and Kesha had poured her heart into her salon. The idea of uprooting everything for love felt like too much to bear. One by one, they spoke their truths. "Amos, we love you," Cynthia said softly, "but this is our home." Mary nodded in agreement, tears brimming in her eyes. "I can't take my son away from the only life he knows." Kesha, though heartbroken, knew she couldn't leave either. It was a painful realization, but they had to stay behind. Then, all eyes turned to Lisa. She sat quietly, deep in thought. Unlike the others, her business wasn't tied to one place, and her heart told her that her story with Amos wasn't over. "I'll go," she finally said. The words felt surreal, but she knew she meant them. Amos's face was a mix of relief and sorrow. He had hoped they would all come, but he understood their choices. A month later, Amos and Lisa boarded a plane to Kenya, ready to start a new life together. As they left, the others watched from afar, knowing that even though they had chosen different paths, their bond would never be forgotten. Months passed, and life in Oakwood slowly returned to normal for Cynthia, Mary, and Kesha, or so they thought. Each of them had tried to move on, focusing on their careers and personal lives, but something unexpected happened. One by one, they discovered they were pregnant, all carrying Amos's children. Shock turned into disbelief, then into deep reflection. They had chosen to stay behind, but now everything had changed. Raising a child alone was never part of their plan, and despite their choices, one truth remained: they still loved Amos. More importantly, they wanted their children to grow up knowing their father. Could they really raise his children in America while he was halfway across the world? As they wrestled with the decision, the answer became clearer. They had to go to Kenya. After weeks of soul-searching and difficult conversations, Cynthia, Mary, and Kesha made the life-altering choice to leave everything behind. With their hands on their growing bellies, they boarded a plane, hearts racing, unsure of what awaited them, but knowing one thing for certain: their story with Amos wasn't over yet. When Cynthia, Mary, and Kesha arrived in Kenya, Amos was overwhelmed with emotion. He had never expected to see them again, but fate had brought them back, not just as his loves, but as the mothers of his children. In his homeland, there were no legal restrictions holding them back, no judgment from society. Here, Amos could fully embrace his cultural traditions, and with love and respect, he married all 4 women, sealing their bond in a way that America never could. Though their journey had been anything but ordinary, the women found strength in each other. What had once been a complicated web of emotions became a strong, unconventional family. They raised their children together, supported one another, and built a life that, while untraditional, was filled with love, respect, and unity. Their story proved that love doesn't always follow society's rules. It follows its own path. And so, Amos and his 4 wives built a life together, defying expectations and embracing a love that crossed cultures and traditions. Their journey was filled with unexpected twists, difficult choices, and undeniable fate, proving that love isn't always simple, but sometimes it's worth fighting for. Now I turn the question to you. Would you have made the same choices? Do you think such a relationship could truly work in today's society? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating tales. See you in the next video.